give us the assessment of what's happening in the White House right now. Before we talk about your candidacy, just like what's going on?
Well, let me just say I respect President Biden. He's a man I've had in my house for an event. He's a man with whom I've flown on Air Force One twice. He did a beautiful video for my daughter. He called my mother. I think he did a fine job. I think he was the only man that could have defeated Donald Trump in 2020. And I have to say, I think it's fair to say, too, he's probably the only Democrat who could and will lose to Donald Trump in 2024. He's a human being. He's now in his 80s. He is clearly on the decline. He's not incompetent. I believe he's surrounded himself by competent, able, principled people. And I believe the White House is running as a team, as most do. But do I think that he will be in a position to continue leading this country in the future? I do not. I think I'm joined by about 75% of the country in saying that. I also believe the policies that we passed, for the most part, are investments for the future. In infrastructure, the CHIPS Act, I think, is a very important bill, which, by the way, has national security implications, as you guys know. The Inflation Reduction Act, a bizarre name for a bill that's really a energy and climate bill, I think is pretty good legislation. And I think he reconstituted our allies around the world that had been frayed to a point of great danger during the Trump administration. So I salute the past, but this is really an election about the future. It's about a generational change. It's about creating, really a new American century that will be powered by systems, structures, people, technologies that I'm just afraid that President Biden and former President Trump can't even comprehend, let alone create thoughtful policy to both nurture and also manage. And I think that's where we're at. And I think we have wars overseas that I think in no small part are caused by a generation that is so focused on techniques and tools of the past that they can't even dare look to building peace for the future. That's why we have the Middle East still going. That's why Ukraine, the vice president has some ownership in some of these issues that I'm afraid have to be exposed, and they're the truth. And I'm happy to talk about them. But most of all, I'll wrap it with this. Affordability in the United States of America is absolutely the most challenging issue facing Americans. They don't believe that their government is listening. They don't believe the president understands. They don't believe Congress is able to do anything about it because we're so dysfunctional. And that's another mission that I'm on right now to end this nonsense. I am going to build a team of rivals. I will have a White House and a cabinet comprised of both Democrats and Republicans, the most able leaders imaginable, who have run multi-billion-dollar organizations in some cases, understand customer service. We'll employ zero-based budgeting to the extent we can. We will employ a world-class consulting firm to look at every single government program, system, structure, and personnel to identify ways to save money. These are things that this president, and frankly, no president who doesn't have business experience, nonprofit leadership experience, and government experience could possibly imagine, because they're so stuck in their siloed ways of thinking. He's been there for 50 years, and it's time for change. I was 3 years old when he became a senator.